Yes. This idea that you can buy anything because you have money or you're in the family. You really can't buy the sovereignty of God. See, God is going to do what God's going to do, and if you decide that you're going to stand in the way of what God wants to do, yeah, you'll end up going to prison. You'll lose everything that you own. Now, Hodge has well remarked, rightly understood, the doctrine exalts the majesty and sovereignty, absolute sovereignty of God. Yeah. And it illustrates the riches of his free grace and his just displeasure with sin. Forces upon us the essential truth that salvation is entirely of grace. Yeah. But there are those that say there's some work involved. How do I know this secret, this mystery? Yes. Well, let's say that I do things a little different, right? I document lawsuits. You decided that you would obstruct my use of the judicial system. And pretty much for the last, couple of years, yes, I've been documenting lawsuits. Your thought was, well, I can buy the county, I can buy the sheriff's department, the police department. I could buy the court, yes. Well, I would say that every time I document a lawsuit, I'm actually doing the will of God. There's what's known as the just displeasure with sin. God does not like sin, has no pleasure in it. Oh, now what's pleasurable to God? What makes God happy? Buxom. Well, this is what makes God happy right now. When I know that you have been corrupt, yes, and I document that I'm going to sue you, yeah, that makes God happy. God rec- well, God does receive some pleasure. That every time the law is enforced, God is happy. Yes. Now, let's say you made up some crimes where I wasn't in Swim, Washington. You refused to exonerate me, because somebody said that I could buy this county. Pooh. God has displeasure in that type of ideology because it's sinful. Now, as much as you would say that the sovereignty of God, yes. See, I don't ever have to do anything that displeases God. And I don't. Let's say that you decided you'd use technology, yeah, to make lookalikes and twins of actual American citizens because your dogs were going to be in control. Yes. That is displeasure, yes, to God. Nobody should make anything that looks like any citizen. You shouldn't do it. See, God has designed each and every one of us different. Yeah. Now, I was thinking about running a company. Yes. As much as I don't have to do anything because I don't, yes. There is what's known as the predestinate purpose of God. Yes. God may have some things that God would like me to do. Yes. And it's not that I'm going to get punished if I don't do them. Yes, there's probably somebody else that God could use. Yeah. It's that I like to be in what is pleasing to God. Yes. See, when God is pleased, I get to experience what is known as the joy of the Lord. Yes. And every day that I'm full of joy, it's a kind of happiness where I end up laughing at the number right now. Oh, see, I could decide to do nothing, yes. And quite possibly that could be the will of God for that day, yes. But since God does not ask me to do anything, yes, I just kind of have this love, joy, and peace in the Holy Ghost when I am pleasing to God. Yes. Yes, yes. Something that I feel inside of myself. Now, let's say that you're going to refuse to enforce the laws today that displeases God. Pooch. You will not experience any joy, yes, as law enforcement. No, as an oath of office, right? You will not have any happiness as long as you're refusing to enforce the law. Now, this determinate purpose of God that governs all events, yes, it's an unconditional decree. I get to participate in the joy of the Lord. Yes, every time I do what God wants, but I don't have to know what God wants because I'm just doing what seems to make sense to me. Now, as much as you would say, well, he's upset today, every time I get really angry at you, yes, I wanted you to realize that inside of myself, I have a lot of joy when I've experienced that. Because you individuals, right, the idiots that call themselves right now, you're going to fucking prison. I know that's upsetting for you to hear that, but the truth of the matter is you're getting prosecuted. Ouch! You cannot make up fake crimes, right, because of the fraud of issuing fraudulent court orders. You can't kidnap children. Ouch! You can't buy citizens. Poop! There are certain items and services that are not for sale. Pow, pow, pow. Now, I know it seems kind of weird that I could be full of joy while at the same time fucking telling you what